Welcome back to another video, guys. Thank you very much for joining me here once again, and in this one we're going to take a look at a tarp and tent configuration. So yes, welcome back to another video here, guys. Thank you for joining me. We're back out here in this spot that I've used before. Lovely spot, absolutely gorgeous day here today. Spring is really starting to show itself. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to play around, and this is actually mostly just me trying to figure out whether I can get something to work. But what I've got with me today is I have my DD 3 m by 3 m tarp, and I have my OEX Rakoon tent, as well as my trekking poles. And what we're going to try and do is figure out if I can set up some kind of awning slash extended outdoor area using the tarp over the top of my tent. We are surrounded by trees here, but we're going to not use the trees in this. So we're not going to use a ridge line or anything like that. We're just going to try and use my trekking poles and the guy lines and things like that to set it up, because the idea is I want to see if I can do this when I'm camping in a field and things like that, and this might get used at an up-and-coming scout camp if I can get this to work. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to get straight into this. We're going to get the tent set up here to my side here, to my left. I'm going to time-lapse that for you. You've seen me put it up plenty of times, so I don't need to run you through it. So we'll get that up, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about how I'm going to try and do the tarp, and we'll take our time with that, and then we'll just enjoy some time in the woods here today, because it is, as I say, absolutely gorgeous. The temperature is probably double digits already, and it's only the back of 11 here. It's the 3rd of April today, so you know, we're really starting to get into this good season here, and we're going to make the most of the weather. So let's get this tent up and I'll come back to you. So that's the tent set up there behind me, as you can see. Went up just as quick as it normally does. So now what we're going to do is we're going to get out the DD 3 by 3 m tarp and just kind of have a look at how we can get this to work. And I'm just going to kind of film it as we go. So just going to move the camera here so you can see it slightly better. So as I said, I don't quite know how this is going to work yet. I've not done this before. This is me just trying to figure this one out. Now, ideally, I want to make this so that I can have the front doors stay open the whole time, and it's just the tarp that's keeping us protected. So, how I think this will work is we'll have one corner over the back here, and we'll have the other corner over the other back. I think we'll rotate it here. In fact, no, we won't. We will leave it that way. So you're going to be about there. You're going to sit in the middle, and you're going to be about there. Now this is a 3 by 3 tarp, so we'll see how much we can cover with it. Because we've got these ridge line, guy lines here at the side, which I feel like that's what we can use with our trekking poles. So let's get a trekking pole out. Because as I say, the idea is that this will be usable without trees. So if I set that to 135 on the bottom one, black diamond trekking poles here, that gets me that height. So that's about centre aligned. So put the pole in the ground there, run the line around the pole, and we'll do our little quick Now I'm not going to be able to pull this tight, but if I then get a tent peg, I'm using my guy line pegs for the tarp for today, for the tent, because I'm not guying the tent. So you're going to stay, yeah, you're going to stay pull the slack. Peg in, run that around, and we'll just tie our guy line hitch, or our top line hitch, whatever you want to call it. Quick release. Hope you can hear me. Well, and then just push that peg in. Now we'll do the one at the other side, and we'll then be able to tighten it. We'll see how well this will work. So far, size-wise it seems promising. We could, and we'll see whether this is necessary, we could potentially turn the tarp diagonally. That's diagonally, not diagonally. And go for, where's there's it. Far more of this side, but that's okay. So we'll shove that in there. Peg first. Alternatively, yeah, we could go diagonally if we want more space. We could also use a ridge line between the two poles, the two trekking poles, to do a similar job. So again, peg in, let it go. Take it up at the other side as well. We want that tight as best as we can. I think this side actually needs to go this way. Yeah. Pull the peg out. This side, that's the only thing with these pegs in this location. They tend to come out really easily. We then peg that back. I only have two pegs left. We aren't centered perfectly either, but so it needs to go that way. Right. So loosen this up. Loosen this up. I'm just trying to center it here a bit better. So that the middle's more in the middle, slightly better. And we'll peg out the back first. I might actually require 2 extra pegs which I don't have, which we can always make. We can always make some. for today's purposes, I might use trees. I know I said I wouldn't, or didn't want to, but it might be the best way to do this today. Now it's not centered. I am currently thinking that diagonally might be better. Will that work? Yes. That would of course work. And it'll certainly do for today. But I'm just wondering, let's sit down and I'll just talk through what I'm thinking about this. So here's the thing. Is this working as an awning at the front of my tent? Yes. In its entirety, that is exactly what it's doing. However, it's requiring two, let's not say trees, but it is using trees today, but it's requiring two tall points at the front, which I don't have. And that's going to be the case no matter what. Because of the height of my trekking poles. And the only other option is to bring the front right down, and then you've just got like a wall, and that's not what I want. I want a like lean-to off the front of the tent. So I'm just trying to think of how best to do that with two trekking poles. And what's coming to mind is not much. Hold on, I'm just having a think here. What's coming to mind is that if we use the trekking poles on the front tie-outs, on those front corner ones instead, there's enough tarp that we could pull the tarp to the ground on the back, right? So rather than guying the back out, peg it straight to the ground, do away with the two poles here holding the sides up, peg the guy line the front. Of course we could fold the tarp in half or into two thirds or something. That would allow me to keep it tighter with just the corners, or pull it or do it diagonally, potentially. What I know is that now, though, is that what I know now is that it fits over the tent really nicely. It's not quite centered today, but if it's centered, it covers both the width and the depth of the tent, and of course, well, height doesn't really matter. And that way, what I can then have is I can basically I can leave these. The idea and what I'm wanting to try and do with this is have it so that for this up and coming camp primarily, but I can also use this at other camps, is that I can leave these outer doors open, just use the inner door, and have this dry porch area out the front. That I can use to cook in and things like that. I'm just not sure how to best do it, because obviously I need the front to be at the very least about the height of the tent, because that way I can like crouch into it. I'm never going to get it tall enough to stand under, but that's fine. I feel like the trekking poles do need to be the front tie-outs, and even then they're not going to be they might not be tall enough. As front tie-outs, they might not be tall enough, because that's about full height there, and they're still lower than where my front is currently, and my front is at the kind of height that I would want it at. So I'm not entirely sure what's best course of action there. I'll have a think about it, I'll play around with it. What I'm going to do is just chill out here for a bit, and then make a brew. We'll make a brew up, and then go from there. We might have a bit of jiggery pokery with it, see what we can make it do, and then get packed up and head on out again. So what I've gone and done here is spun the tarp diagonally, and I've made this work much better. So the way I think I'm going to do it is have it diagonally and have one of the front corners straight out the front, come in one and guy it out with a trekking pole, and in one and guy it out with a trekking pole at the front. The front triangle you could then tie back, and that would be alright. Now that side, because of the closeness of that tree, doesn't work right, so we're just going to look at this side, and we would do the same on both sides. And then all we've got then is peg out the diagonal in line with the middle of the tarp. It's a little bit loose back here, which needs a bit of work potentially, but then just peg out the back two that's one in from the corner, the same as the front. And then, as I say, this side isn't working at all. I've just got it tied up to the tree to stop it moving. But that still provides an awning at the front that's high enough for me to crouch underneath. So that works quite nicely. So just going to make ourselves up a brew now. So what I have gone with for the brew equipment today, just carrying it in this little fabric bag here. Got the usual lightweight Life Venture cup, and everything else within the Trangia kettle. So Trangia kettle, got myself a coffee bag, if I can get it out, some hot chocolate powder, we can make a mocha, the spirit burner, and the pot supports, and of course water. Now I don't have my little foil protective piece to go on the ground to stop the Trangia burning anything, so all I'm going to do, it doesn't get that hot, so it should be alright, but what I'm just going to do is just fold up our little bag and just put that down, and that'll serve as a little, maybe open it up one more to be a bit better. Grass, get out of the way, and there we go. That'll just keep the ground safe. Open her up. Fuel's already inside. Ooh, without spilling it. Definitely don't want to spill it on the bag because the bag will catch fire. Get our pot supports ready. If you haven't seen these before, if you haven't seen me use this before, these just, hold on, focus on this. These just, yeah, not working, hold on. These just slot together and then sit on top of here to support the pot, or in this case kettle. And if you're interested more in how I make a brew in the woods, go check out my brew kit video, link up here. What I then need is something to light it with, and I have switched. If you saw my recent video, again, if not, there'll be a link in the description and up in the cards. We're talking about fire lighting equipment. I talked about how my primary is a fire steel, my secondary is a lighter. Well, for the longest time I was using a lighter for stoves, but I'm now relying more on, or not relying, but deciding to use fire steels more. However, it might not work because this is an alcohol stove, but we'll see. Yeah, it's probably not going to work with it being an alcohol stove. Never mind, we are, nope, it did go. Now it's going. Can just about see the flame flickering. So we'll put our pot support on, we'll let that bloom whilst I get my water out. And pour some water into the kettle here. And then this will probably take about 10-15 minutes to boil, which is fine. We still going? Yep. Yep. So the kettle can go on. And we'll just be careful because that's not the most stablest of things ever. And there we go. I'll catch back with you once I've got myself a brew. So there we go, guys, that is me about wrapped up here. I'm going to just get packed up here in a minute. As you can tell, and as we've discussed, I have been successful here in incorporating the tent with the tarp, and I am going to go ahead and use this in a week or so's time on a scout event, and we'll see how it performs in the actual real world. As I said, I'm just going to get packed up here in a minute and head on out and get on with the rest of my day. But that's going to about do it for this one. So thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked it, make sure to hit that like button, and if you're new here, please do consider subscribing down below. While you're down there, leave a comment, let me know what you want to see, and until next time, bye for now.